If you've been laying awake at night, scrolling your phone, wondering if one of those weight loss medications everyone is talking about might finally be the answer for you, and if you've been thinking that, I don't understand it, just know it's not just you. This is one of the most common questions I get right now. And today we're going to be talking about it in a way I wish people could hear it. So we're going to talk about medications like Ozempic and to find out, does this actually belong in your weight management plan? So we're going to talk about things you really need to know even before you start. Hi, I'm Dr. Lola Ashaye. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician and founder of InTouch Primary Care in Sugar Land, Texas. And I spend my days helping people, especially women, get clear answers, clear, honest answers about what's actually happening in their bodies. Everything from everyday health and prevention to hormones, perimenopause, menopause care, weight management, and so much more. And on this channel, my goal is to cut through the noise and the fear. So let's get into it. So remember, this is general medical education, not personalized medical advice. So always check with your own doctor before making any changes to your health or medications. So I'm going to start by letting you know about a patient interaction I had recently. So this lady is in her late 40s. She came in just for a physical. And most of her life, anytime she wanted to lower her weight, she would just, cut back on eating certain things, move a little bit more, and the weight will come off. But for the last couple of years, she noticed that she was doing the same thing, sometimes even doing more, and the scale wasn't budging. And then one of her friends started a weight loss shot and dropped a noticeable amount of weight. And in this patient's words, she looked great. So she's sitting across from me, kind of hopeful, not sure. And she was asking questions that I know a lot of people ask, like, do I really want to be on one of these medications too? So if that sounds familiar, well, stay with me because that's what we're going to walk with. I'm going to walk through. I'm going to tell you what we talked about. So first, what are we even talking about? Well, we're talking about medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound. These are brand names of the class of medications often called GLP-1 receptor agonists. And they were originally developed to help people manage type 2 diabetes. And doctors noticed something, that people taking them were also losing significant amount of weight. So they were studied and they were approved for weight management too. And some are also now approved for other conditions like heart disease and sleep apnea. So how do these medications work? Well, what they do is they actually mimic a hormone in your own body that your own body already makes after you eat. The hormone does a few things. It signals your brain that you're full. It slows down how quickly your stomach empties, and it helps steady your blood sugar. So for many people, that constant food noise, the pull toward the pantry at night, gets much quieter. And that's how your biology is being supported with, these medications. So it's important to know that these medications can be very effective, but they're not magic, right? So let's be clear about what the research shows. In major clinical trials, semaglutides, which are Wegovy and Ozempic, helped many people lose around 15% of their body weight. And tirzepatide, which is like Mounjaro, Zepbound, helped some participants lose closer to 20%. So these are clinically meaningful results for many people. But it's also important because to understand that these outcomes were in carefully structured studies with lifestyle support alongside the medication. So medication is only one part of the plan. So remember, in studies, it's a very controlled environment. They're watching a lot of things that the participants are eating oftentimes, and they're supporting them in other ways. So it's not just the medication. But obviously, we know these medications are effective. The other thing to understand is, who is this medication for? Is not just for everyone who wants to lower their weight, right? Who wants to just lose a few pounds. In general, GLP-1 medications are considered for people with a BMI of 30 or higher, or for people with a BMI of 27 or higher who have weight-related health conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, heart disease. So whether or not you're a candidate depends on your full health picture your medical history, your health goals. It's a conversation for you and your own doctor. And then side effects. So this is one of the biggest concerns that people have. And the most common side effects are nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, constipation. And these tend to be most noticeable when the dose is started or increased. And this is why, exactly why, we usually will start at a low dose and then we'll increase over time, and it needs to be monitored carefully. Starting the right way really makes a difference on how well people tolerate this medication. Then the other part is that people ask about is, when you stop the medication, the weight coming back. This is one of the biggest questions people ask. If I start Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, do I have to stay on it forever? Well, here's the honest answer. For many people, when the medication is stopped, the weight can come back. So the ADA 2026 Standards of Care notes that stopping semaglutide or tirzepatide can lead to weight recurrence in about 1/2 to 2/3 of the weight, of about 1/2 to 2/3 of the weight loss within a year. So you can gain back 1/2 or 2/3 of the weight that was lowered within a year, along with the reversal of some blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol improvements. So in one study extension, after semaglutide was stopped, participants regained about 2/3 of the weight they lost within that first year. So that matters because it tells us that this is not about willpower. It tells us that the weight regulation is biological, hormonal, metabolic, behavioral. So the goal is not simply to start a medication. The goal is to build a long-term plan, one that includes nutrition, protein, strength training, sleep, labs, and a clear strategy for what happens if the medication is continued, reduced, or eventually stopped. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is the medication does not replace lifestyle. So GLP-1 medications may help reduce appetite, they can support weight loss, but they do not build muscle, they do not choose meals, they don't improve sleep, they don't create long-term habits. So research consistently show that these medications work best when paired with adequate protein, regular strength or resistance training, better sleep, nutrition changes, and ongoing medical monitoring. So those lifestyle pieces really matter as well. They're not optional add-ons. So muscle loss is a real concern with taking this medication. And one thing to be aware of is that when people lose significant amount of weight quickly, some of the weight can come from lean mass, not just fat. So keeping muscle while losing weight requires intentional effort. And we're going to go deeper into that on the next episode because it's an important topic to deserve its own conversation. So if this is starting to make things click, do one small thing, not for me, but for someone else. Hit that subscribe button. Share this video with someone in your life who has been quietly carrying this question. So many people are making this decision in isolation, comparing themselves to everyone around them. Your share might be the thing that helps them feel less alone with this. So hope you can subscribe and share and leave us a comment if you would like. Okay, so let's keep going. So you may have heard a few things and a few concerns come up almost every time this topic comes up. So let's work through them. So one of them is one thing I touched on earlier. I don't want to be on medication forever. And that is a completely reasonable concern and one worth discussing with your doctor. What research tells us is that for many people, the weight tends to return after stopping, which means that this is often a long-term medical management question, not a short-term fix. Whether that is right for your situation is a decision between you and a physician that knows your history. And it's important to understand that that becomes an issue because of how a lot of people think about weight. Because medically, some people think, oh, I need medication. That means I failed. Well, that doesn't match science. Weight is shaped by hormones, genetics, sleep, stress, other medication, metabolic factors. I mean, you know of people that do have certain behaviors that you would assume that they're going to gain a lot of weight because of how they what they do, but they are very skinny. And then other people that they can just look at food and gain weight. So obesity is classified as a chronic disease needing medical treatment. So needing medical treatment for a chronic disease is not a failure. It's just how medicine works. So for whether it's right for an individual is also always a clinical decision, not a general one. And then I hear people say, I'm scared about the side effects. Good, because, it's good to know that side effects are real and they vary by person. And that's one of the reasons this decision should involve a physician who knows your medical picture, not a recommendation from a friend or a social media post. So just because a friend lost weight on it doesn't mean that, you should take it. Their results could be different. Is their health history, their risk profile, what has worked for one person may not be appropriate for another. So it's important to have this individualized personal conversation with your own doctor. So if this has raised questions for you, the next step is a conversation with a physician who knows your health history. If you're in the Sugar Land area and looking for that kind of comprehensive root cause approach to weight, hormones, and prevention, InTouch Primary Care, we offer a complimentary 15-minute meet and greet, and you can find the link below. And if you already have a doctor you trust, take these questions to them. Ask about your labs, your metabolic health, and whether or not this medication is an option for you and what a long-term plan would look like. So it's a conversation really worth having. So imagine instead of scrolling late at night, comparing yourself to everyone else, wondering whether you're making the right call, if you had a clear plan, one that was built around your actual personal biology, your labs, your hormones, your habits, your long-term health, not just a trend. So that's the kind of clarity that is possible. And it starts with the right conversation with the right doctor. So if you are also, maybe you've started the journey and you're lowering your weight, but you don't feel good, be sure to listen to the next episode because that's what we're going to be talking about. I hope that helps.